Hi everyone, so I'm back with another problem from Data Lemur, and this is Data Lemur Medium from Etsy. So let's get started. So the problem is problem 9 from the Ace to Data Science interview book, and for those of you who haven't read the book, I would highly recommend it for data science interview preparations. So let's get started with the question. You're given the table below on user transactions, and we need to write a query to obtain the list of customers whose first transaction was valued at 50 or more. Now we need to output the number of users. So essentially, we only need to return the first transaction such that it was only the earliest transaction based on the date that was where the user spent 50 or more. So anything if the earliest transaction was 40 or more, we're going to ignore that, and so we need to use a whereby clause. Let's look at the clarifications here. So use the transaction date field to determine which transaction should be labeled, and as I discussed that the earliest transaction or the first transaction is based on the transaction date, so we need to arrange it based on ascending order of transaction date, and then use a specific function to account for scenarios where a user had multiple transactions on the same day and one of those was the first one. So in specific function we'll be using the row number function because we need to arrange it in consecutive order based on the transaction date. So the earliest transaction needs to be based on the row number rank. So let's start to write the query for this, and first we need to have a ranking call or a row number ranking call such that we're partitioning by the transaction date, and we are also removing the spends which are less than 51, right? So let's get started. So first what I'll do is that I'll select transaction ID, perhaps select user ID comma spend comma row number over partition by transaction. Oh no, we partition by user ID, and then we order by transaction date in the ascending order as ranking 1 from user transactions. Let's see what this outputs. So let's run the code. So as we can see here now, we have our I think it will be better to even look at the transaction date here. Okay, so we have our earliest transaction date where our ranking is now ranking is based on so we need to whose first transaction was valued at 50 or more. Okay, so now we need to only this is a ranking clause. Now the next thing we need to do is that we only need to output those first transactions whose values were 50 or more. So we only need to select those we need to count the distinct user IDs whose ranking was equal to 1 because it was the earliest transaction and the spend was valued at 50 or more. So we are going to save this table, and we're going to call the table using and query the results from this table using a whereby clause. So we do select and we need to count. So we only need the distinct count of user IDs. So we'll be passing the distinct function from CTE1 where ranking 1 is equal to 1 and spend is valued greater than or equal to 50. So let's run. Okay, we got our count as 3, and then as users. Great, let's submit it. I don't know what is this random add, but sorry about that. So the code is accepted, and I hope the solution was clear to all of you, and if not, please feel free to comment about how I can improve writing my query. So I hope to see you all next time. Bye bye.